Hi everybody, welcome back to Stats. Today we're talking about the normal distribution and we are going to do two things today. We're going to find z-scores and find the area under the curve given a z-score. So the handout that we're going to be looking at today is the one that was normal distribution. Okay, worksheet. And the first question says, find the following areas. And if we draw a picture of what it's asking in number one, it says to the right of a z-score of 1.94. So when it says to the right, we're going to shade to the right of the curve. And if you looked up 1.94 in your table, okay, what you would find is that would be an area of 0.9738. Okay, because when you look up an area in the table, it's always going to give you the area to the left. And you're going to hear me say that over and over again. When you look up a z-score in the table, you are finding the area to the left of that z-score. So basically what that's saying is there's a 97% chance, a little bit more than that, that your score is going to be below that 1.94. Now the probability that's going to be greater than 1.94 is 1 minus that. And if we do that, our answer is going to be about a 2% chance, 2.62%. So anytime we're finding an area to the right, we have to do that 1 minus what we looked up in the table. All right, so that was our first question. We're going to jump down to number 3, which says find the area to the left of a z-score of 2.08. So this time I'm shading my curve to the left. And when I look up that 2.08 in our normal distribution table, okay, we're going to get a value of 0.9812. And that is my answer because I want to know the area to the left. So we're not subtracting from 1 this time. We don't want to know that area. We want to know just the area to the left. Okay, so 98% chance. So those are the first two types of problems. If we're given a z-score, if they ask us the area to the left, whatever we look up in the table, that's going to be our answer. If we look at a z-score and we want to know the area to the right, that's when we have to do the 1 minus the value. The third type of example that we can have is when we're talking about two z-scores. So for example, we could have a z-score of 1.47 and a z-score of 3.01. What's the probability that we're going to be between these two z-scores? Okay, this is number 5 on the sheet. And what I would do for this particular one is I would look up 3.01. What is that value on the table? I would look up 1.47. What is that value on the table? And I would subtract those two. Okay, I would subtract those two probabilities. And when you subtract those two probabilities, there's going to be about a 6-7% chance of that happening. So whenever we want to find an area in between two z-scores, we have to look up both the values in the table and subtract them, okay, to find our actual value. Now, for the part B on this worksheet, okay, it's asking us the opposite now. Okay, now if we look at number 1 in part B, it says the area to the right is 0.6591. Okay, so area to the right is 0.6591. What is the z-score? So again, why is this an opposite problem? Because now we know the area under the curve. we have to figure out what the z-score is. And the thing we want to remember about the area under the curve is that half of the curve is 50%. Okay, it's 50% on this side, it's 50% on that side. That's why I went over 50 and a little bit farther over here when I drew my picture. Now again, in order to find a z-score, if you were going to look this up in the body of the table, you would want to know what is the area to the right. So if you do 1 minus 0.6591, okay, the area to the left is going to be 3409. Remember, these two areas have to add up to 1, the area under the curve. So this is the value you want to look up inside the body of your table. When you look up that body in the table, the z-score that you are going to find, which makes sense, is a negative z-score because it's on the other side of 0. It's on the left-hand side of 0. So my z-score, my answer would be a negative 0.91. So once again, we need the area to the left in order to find that z-score. Right? If we jump to number 3 in this part, okay, part B, number 3, it says area to the left is 0.4013. Okay, so this problem is actually easier than the first one we did because we have the area to the left already. So all we have to do is look on the table to what value is closest to that value or right on it. Sometimes the value won't exactly be there. You take the value that is closest to 0.4013. And when you look that up, you're going to get a z-score of negative 0.25. So that would be our actual z-score. And again, the reason why we're going through this process is so that eventually when we can solve a problem, okay, trying to figure out the probability of something happening, okay, we have to be able to find a z-score, okay, if we're given area. If we can't do this, we can't move on to the next step. So this is why we're spending the time doing these two things. Okay. We're going to jump to part 2 in the worksheet in a minute. I'm going to take a pause here, a break. So we'll hold on a second.